So some advantages of the electric bike are that it is fast and that it saves energy. Some disadvantages of the electric bike are that it's very heavy. It probably weighs like 4 times as much as a normal bicycle. So when you finally get that electric bike, the limitation is not going to be within you or within the electric bike. I think the limitation is more along the realm of how your friends perceive the bike and how your family perceives the bike, and how sometimes there is a little bit of unintended damages regarding the bike just because it is so strong, and why it is important to kind of address those obstacles and those challenges kind of before purchasing the e-bike. So one thing, right now my e-bike is still at the shop. So again, I'm going to use the EX30 electric unicycle as a placeholder to represent the e-bike because it's a lot smaller. It's a lot heavier than a normal bike, but it is a lot lighter compared to the electric bike. So it kind of represents like the middle ground between the electric bike and the electric unicycle, or between, sorry, the electric unicycle represents the middle ground between the electric bike and the more powerful electric bike, because it is smaller, lighter, more nimble, and easier to steer. So if you're a cyclist, like if you're a mountain biker, or if you're, a metropolitan city biker, or if you're like a pizza delivery biker, whatever type of biker that you might be, I do believe that electric bikes could kind of offer certain array of advantages. But I'm not telling you to go and ride your e-bike every day. I think everything is good in moderation. I think the e-bike is like it's like training with a weighted baseball bat. So I'm going to use the weighted baseball bat analogy to kind of describe what it is like training with an electric bicycle. Because, a normal baseball player wouldn't normally train with a weighted bat. So convincing a baseball player to train with a weighted bat is kind of similar to convincing a normal biker to train with an electric bike. So the weighted bat is going to take a lot more energy to swing, but the weighted bat also has a lot more stability, and it has a lot more power to swing the ball a lot further with a lot less effort. So, it's also kind of like an acoustic instrument. The normal bike is kind of like an acoustic guitar, whereas the electric bike is kind of more like an electric guitar, where it's like, it's better to have the acoustic, it's better to use the acoustic regularly, the same way it's better to use the normal bat regularly, the same way it's good to use the normal bicycle regularly. However, there is a time, in my opinion, again, this is only one person's opinion, right? But there is a time, in my opinion, when you will always be glad that you own an electric bike once you get it, but you do kind of have to be kind of strategic. One danger associated with an electric bike is the range associated with the longer rides. I think as far as the longer rides go, the EX30 will always outperform the e-bike, and that's something that I'm also kind of battling with myself, because I want an electric bike that's better than the EX30, but I don't think they have one yet, dude. I think the EX30 really is like the Plan B skateboards of electric bikes, where it's like, it's a really strong, good, useful, reliable brand, Alien Rides, and you can't really beat it, and you can't really beat their team either. So I think Alien Rides is kind of like the Plan B skateboards of personal electric vehicles, which I think is like a really good top spot. Throttle of the electric bike and the way the throttle and the motor kind of pull you differently from the electric unicycle or from a normal bicycle. I think that one of the main components associated with electric bikes that differentiate it from motorcycles, dirt bikes, or the electric unicycles is just the actual throttle, and how how simple the throttle really is on the electric bike is kind of something to kind of note. So one big problem with the electric bike is that it is kind of like a toy. It's not something that you register. It's not something that you take to the DMV. It's not something that there's like an actual test or safety course that somebody could have you take and say, hey, you're ready to go out onto the road. So that is an unintended risk associated with electric bikes, is that you don't register them. So if you do purchase one, just beware that if something does happen to you, you're going to have to be a little bit more responsible. You're going to have to take more ownership for it, because if you do something reckless with the electric bike, you can't go back to the shop and say, hey, that was your fault, because it was not your fault. It was the person's fault that bought it. I think that's one main bridge right now that I think like the world is overcoming, where it's like with cars, you know, there was the Model T that was mass produced during the 1900s, before the 1950s, I'm pretty sure, and everybody had one. Everybody and their mom had one, everybody and their grandpa had one, and they all loved it, and they all got it, and they all used it. So I think the electric bike is, from Alien Rides, is kind of just like a Model T, where it's like it's not the Subaru Forester, it's not the Subaru hatchback, it's not the RSX Acura. It's just an electric bike. It's a basic bike, and it's usually you're gonna have to buy it custom built. And that's like another annoying thing, is people will ask you like, oh, what kind of bike is it, and you just are like, dude, it's custom built, or like, I don't know, or like you don't really want to tell them. So the custom built thing is a little bit kind of weird to like explain to people sometimes, because like the DMV doesn't really have custom built cars for everybody. So when you have your own custom built vehicle and you're taking it everywhere and you're flying everywhere with it and you're smashing everywhere and you're getting everywhere with more ease than the guy before you or after you, people will start to take notice, and it's important to be humble, because otherwise you're going to kind of make enemies faster than you make friends with it. But overall, I have a lot more friends ever since I started investing in the personal electric vehicle industry, and I think it's made me a lot more popular among my friend groups, and it's made me a lot more popular around town as well. So I'm not saying that buying an electric bike is going to make you a popular person, but I think I've had really awesome luck with having I have a really strong support group over here, thankfully, because before I had the electric bike, I didn't really have a lot of support group, you know. It was just me and myself and my skateboard, and I didn't really know. But now I feel secure because I have a lot more friends, and I'm happy.